I do without you guys? Can you hear me now? We good? I think we're good now. Sorry, guys. I'm so excited. I looked at these a little, like briefly right before we kicked off the stream. Also, thank you to you both. Like I looked up and chat was like already popping off. I was like, what? So good to see you guys in here. Yeah, I looked at these briefly, and I love this opening line of "Welcome, Rebel Scum." This is what I'm excited about here. All right, let's pause the music and we'll go through this. My favorite stream. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. All right, one patch in and things are looking good in the galaxies. I don't know if I agree about that, but okay. The big highlight of this patch, introducing the new set mechanic into the wild. 3 new galaxies bring with them unique rules that will force you to adapt your tried and true strategies. I mean, to be fair to Riot, we haven't been playing like the actual set 3 yet, because like we haven't had any galaxies. So we'll see. I want to see how much this changes like the game here. On the balance front, we're taking some power from the Premier Tier 5 units. Thank God. They're supposed to be strong and still will be, but they're currently functioning too well without team support. Looking at you, Gangplank. Yep, that's for sure. Don't estimate the power of Darkstar, as they're getting a fancy little rework to help out their consistency. And perhaps the most important change, your champions will now celebrate when you win a round. I want to see what this looks like. I want to see what the celebration thing is. So let's jump in. I think we've all seen this graphic. Are they? They're great? The celebrations are awesome? Okay, I think it's cool. I hope they add like little things like that over the course of the... It's so cool? Okay. I'll have to check it out. I think we've been saying this all week, so let's skip the graphic here. Galaxy mechanic. Okay. Fix my chair. It's here with pomp and circumstance. As a reminder, all of you, your TFT games have a chance to start with one of the following effects, or no effect at all. You can tap the Galaxy icon at the top banner to find out more information. The Nico's verse, 2 free Nicos on start. Lilac Nebula, I hate this name, but okay. All 4 cost units. That's an interesting one. When I played this on the PBE, I always felt like you almost had to keep that champion. Just because win streaks are so strong right now. It just, I don't know. I feel like if you don't keep your 4 costs and everyone else does, you're going to be losing a lot of rounds early, which, if that's okay with you, that's fine. In medium legends, I like the name on PBE, which was not so little legends, but basically you just have higher health pools. I think the big strategy on that one is going to be like just loss streaks and stuff like that. You can get away with more of. And obviously the games will just go longer in general. So we'll see some stuff we haven't seen, a lot more like level 9s, I'd imagine, when we get to that one. So they changed the drop rates a little bit, and they basically made it slightly more likely for you to a 1 cost at level 8. But most importantly, they made it harder to get legendaries. I got to level 9 fast, but these notes weren't even out. Okay. Were you playing on one of the galaxies or no? Played quite a few today. Okay, I haven't played any, so this is my first. The odds of seeing a special carousel has been reduced. I hope this is like significantly. I'm so sick of seeing like all bow rounds and all glove rounds, because it doesn't feel fun when it happens all the time. I guess it just feels kind of annoying when it's like every other carousel is like this. At least that's my opinion on it. I don't know if you guys like them. All tier rounds, yeah. I think it always feels bad. First game was all 4 costs. Okay, so there's pretty good on the Galaxy, I'd imagine then. They cut down the time. I thought it was going to be more than 5 seconds they were going to remove from the planning phase, but that's fine. I think they're really long, but I've also played probably more than most people. So I don't need as much time, I think, at this point. But I'd like to see them like later on in the set, like reduce this again, like they did in set 2. But 5 seconds for now will help. That'll actually speed up the game a little bit. 6 blades got buffed. I'm excited about this because I like to build 6 blades, but it never feels like as competitive as I feel like it should be, even with Aurelia being really strong. And it's not a huge buff, so I don't think they were as out of control as they were in the other sets. Brawler, slight nerf at 4. I don't think that does much. I don't think losing a grand total of 400 health off your whole team is going to make a difference. So we'll see. Maybe it hits some breakpoints where you're able to one-shot one of them or two-shot them when you normally wouldn't be able to, but I don't know. Chrono at 6 got a 10% buff. And considering this kicks in every, like, I think 4 seconds, I think that's going to add up to quite a bit. Especially when the first one's going to be such a big one. I also think some of their units got buffed. So I think Chrono, honestly, is probably going to be my go-to, like, the first thing to try and figure out with this patch. Darkstar's been completely reworked, which is good because I don't think it was. I didn't like the trait before. I like a lot of the Darkstar champions, but I don't like the way the trait worked. So now essentially, it's kind of like light, I guess, in the sense that when one champion dies, the rest of them get buffed up. Is your build? You're gonna spam it. I don't know if this is better or worse. I just didn't like the old mechanics, so don't get too far ahead of yourself. So now, instead, when a Darkstar champion dies, all other Darkstar champions gain 25 at 3 or 35 attack damage and spell power. So let's say you have 6. Let's do some quick math. 35 times 5. What is it, like 175 damage or something like that? If my rough math is right. 80. I guess that's really strong. My problem with Jin is he doesn't attack fast, so like fast enough sometimes, I feel like. Mord spell. That's a good point, but I also picture Mord being the first one to die or second one to die in that comp, unless you're just playing something funky. Like I don't picture him getting the buff much. But maybe. I guess if you make him into one of those like super Mords where he never dies, he would be the last one alive. Alright. Rework the Mana Reaver. Basically they changed the old 4 into the 2 piece, and there's no longer a 4 set. I think this is good just because you could never play 4 Mana Reaver. They didn't make sense in any kind of fashion together. And the bonus certainly didn't warrant playing 4 random people. So I'm happy about this. I do worry that it might be too strong for a 2 cost. Especially with Kassadin being such a strong unit as far as like disarm already and that kind of stuff. So I think he's going to be really popular. Like this patch is Kassadin, and like maybe like Kassadin and Aurelia with like a Celestial Blade Master build. Mystic buffed at 2, nerfed at 4. I kind of have the same opinion here. I've never seen anyone play 4 Mystic, literally ever. And then 2 Mystic didn't feel like it was worth it because they don't fit well with anything other than like Rebels and Star Guardians. I guess Darkstar maybe you could play 2, because but they don't feel as easy to like drop in as they used to. I thought Janna was a really good Mystic because she could like the addition of Cloud I thought made defensive traits more interesting, but now with it just being Mystic and there being so much like physical damage in the game right now, I think this is gonna need more armor, another Mystic late game. Yeah, it's only like I feel like whereas before is like you'd almost always want it at level 8 in set 2, and now I don't know. Maybe our builds aren't that evolved, but I've never feel the need to throw in 2 Mystic, and when I do try to throw in 2 Mystic, it doesn't seem to make a big enough difference. Maybe this will help. I think they'll need to go more to like 40, honestly, but we'll see. Sniper bonus damage. I don't like this. I think snipers were fine. And I think this is a pretty big buff. Especially because Chrono got buffed. This concerns me. So sniper went from 12 to 15%. And remind you, that's the way that trait works. It's per hex away. So that's not a 3% increase. It's, well, I mean, it will be, but mathematically, it's like 15% for every hex now. So that adds up pretty quickly. All right. Tier 1 champions. Caitlyn's spellcast time was reduced. I am happy about that. I feel like that actually is a pretty big buff. I don't think it's going to change her damage too much, but what I think it'll do is it'll get rid of those annoying scenarios where she's casting and doesn't actually finish it, and then she dies, and it loses you a round in the beginning. She still sucks. We'll see, Fosh. I mean, she's a 1 cost. She's supposed to suck, buddy. They need to lower it more. Interesting. I don't know. I'll see. I can't say anything until I play it, but I feel like it's probably okay. I don't want her to be like. I don't want that shot to be like half a second. He's talking about Caitlyn. 0.9. We could talk about 0.9. I think that might be reasonable. Especially since like you can't control how to block it like in Summoner's Rift. Like it's luck anyway. So Caitlyn now resumes attacking more quickly after firing her bullet. This doesn't really tell me anything other than it should be better. Zaya's attack speed got buffed. I'm glad to hear that, but I almost worry. I worry when they mess with Zaya's attack speed because of the way it scales. So she now has 0.8, but then her spell gives her a bonus attack speed, which will like exponentially scale off of this. And Blade Master got buffed. And Chrono got buffed. So if you play Chrono with like Blade Master and Celestial, it'll get ridiculous. Like really quickly, this gets out of hand. So we'll see. I think I might be. I already like her, so I'll probably pick her up more. Yeah. Her only downside is like she's very single target oriented and doesn't have a lot of AD, but that's okay. Zig's total mana move it to 45. This just means he'll be less spammy. You won't see so many like bombs. And it also kind of, in some ways, it makes Seraphs a little bit less useful on him. More Blitz since Chrono is buffed. I think you will see Blitz throughout the entire set because Blitz is a useful unit you can drop in to screw up an enemy team no matter what you're playing. I don't think it really matters whether Chrono's here or not. Like sometimes you add an infiltrator just to maybe take out a misfortune. Like Blitz is the same kind of purpose, but he's a 1-cost unit that can accomplish it, or a 2-cost unit, but you don't need him to be 2-starred. Like he does his job no matter what rank he is, which is why I find Blitz annoying in these games. But that's just me. Darius was buffed, 100 health, and that's at 1 star. So at 2 star, it's 200 health. That's a pretty big deal. I still don't think Pirates is going to be an in-game build, but I think it's a good mid-game build for econing and pushing 8 and 9. I think that's becoming more and more valuable throughout the set so far. So I've been using Pirates more of it, like I said, as a way to just get extra money between like levels 5 and 8, basically. He's ridiculous now. I don't know. I haven't played. I think he's good when no one else is playing him, and you can grab that easy 3-star. But other than that, I think you need to sell him probably around level 7 or 8. Xin Zhao's total mana. So people were looking at it as a buff, and that's a good point. Darius is a mana reaver, Mama Reaver. I like it. I think I might have to call them that from now on. So I saw people complaining about this being a buff because yes, Xin Zhao's damage goes up, but I don't think that's what made Xin Zhao's like a problem. It was never that he was like gonna blow your team up. It was that he was always not like CCing you, and he was never gonna die because he was never gonna get hit. So I think this will help a little bit, but I don't know that it's enough. I think that maybe they should have hit his base attack speed a little bit, but maybe that was too much. So if anything, he should be a little bit weaker, but I don't think it's going to change much, to be honest. Ezreal got nerfed pretty hard, in my opinion. They nerfed his starting mana, and they nerfed how much mana he needs. So the Protector Celestial might be tricky. Yeah, I think it's still going to be hard to kill him. I just don't think... I'm not worried about the bonus damage. It's like 25 at each rank. Like the damage wasn't the problem. It was the problem was that he was constantly doing the knock up and CCing like a primary unit, which makes him take so much less damage, and he just keeps healing. Like the 25 damage doesn't make a difference one way or the other, in my opinion. We'll see. More played earlier said he was making note of him being strong. So yeah, I think this doesn't do enough. Exactly. I don't think that's enough of a nerf. I think 65, 70 is probably more. So how it works is every attack is 10 mana now. So basically they made him have to attack one more time. That's what that means. So I think at 70 it's probably more reasonable. Or you could do the other thing, which I said, which is like lower his base attack speed, which just makes that take a little bit longer. It makes him. It also makes him more difficult to stack like Rage Blade and stuff like that on. So that's what I would probably be thinking. But these guys have a lot more experience than I do, obviously. Ezreal's spell damage nerfed across the board, and his personally, I never valued Ezreal for his like flat damage. Like I think he does good with that, but he has an AOE like mana reaver essentially for his spell, and I think it's really really strong. I think Chrono Blaster is a good synergy to play around. So I'm not. This is a really big nerf, but I'm also not really worried about it. I think he'll be fine. Like Kassadin, total mana reduced. So this on top of Mana Reaver getting buffed is pretty interesting. So this just means that essentially 2 autos sooner he'll be able to like AoE disarm people on top of the Mana Reaver. I think he's going to be a really strong like semi-tank frontline like he used to be in set 1. I think that's what they wanted him to be originally, and he just wasn't getting the job done. So this will probably bring him a little bit closer to like where we want, or where they want rather. You said they nerfed him? No. So it's these patch notes can be kind of confusing to read if you're used to Summoner's Nerf. Like if you reduce someone's mana in Summoner's Nerf. If you reduce someone's mana on Summoner's Rift, it's obviously a nerf. But here it just means that they're casting their ult more often. Yeah, I think Mana Reaver's gonna be really good. Summoner's Nerf, I like it. Summoner's Nerf and Mama River. we got 2 good ones this one. All right, Shaco, my boy, getting nerfed a little bit at 3 stars. That's about it. Honestly, I love playing Shaco and the Infiltrator build, but I'm okay with this. It was kind of disgusting what he was doing before. I also don't know. Like I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know if this 50% is that enough for him not to one-shot somebody if he's built right. I think this punishes people who don't itemize correctly, and it's probably still gonna be fine for people who build IE and like Bloodthirster and like a lot of swords on him. I think he'll still be in one-shot range if he's built correctly. I think it just makes it so you can't throw like whatever items on him. Soraka got buffed on her mana, so she'll cast first ult sooner and the like subsequent ones. And let's see, spell healing was also buffed by 50 at 1 star and 2 star. I think that makes her really strong. I already thought she was pretty strong. I thought her spell tended to like hit a little bit late. So I'm curious to see what this does. Because it's kind of about a break point here with this kind of stuff. It's like, is she going to heal before the first unit would have died? Yeah, okay. So Fosh is saying Mort Dog, which is the lead designer, said if you build items correctly, it's mostly what these changes were for, because 3 stars should mean you beat a correctly built. Yeah, 2 star, exactly. Like a 3-star Shaco with like a Merlin Nomicon should never beat like a well-built 2-star. But I feel like his damage was so high that you could kind of just throw stuff at him before, and I think that's hopefully what that does, is knock him down a peg. Still talking about Shaco. I guess that's confusing. Vel'Koz got buffed. I'm happy about this. I would like to see Star Guardians to be viable, because I want to see most builds be viable if played correctly. I don't want to see it where it's this like Rebel Cybernetics race that we have right now. Like I don't like having like that kind of meta. I know there will always be like a strongest build. That's just the nature of things. But I liked it how we really had it like in set 2 where you could play probably 4 or 5 things pretty reliably. So hopefully we get to that point. So I think this goes a long way. Vel'Koz is murdering everything on the board. Okay, so Vel'Koz is like Darius. And what I mean by that is like when he works, it looks amazing and everyone goes, oh my God. And then when it doesn't work, he just dies and you don't even notice he's there. All this does is get his ult off sooner. It doesn't change the damage. It doesn't change. It's 1 auto sooner. And I think, me personally, I think that's fine. He's not on like the misfortune level where he'll literally kill the whole team, at least not that quickly. Even with items, I think misfortune was still way stronger. So I'm happy with this. There's a brawler, that's a cyber, and then that's a bell cost killer. Yeah, Vi is really good at like getting on backline units. I think we're starting to pick up stuff like that where like certain combinations are stronger. That's why you don't see people go 4 brawler. Like I do a lot of like 2 Vanguard, 2 brawler, and just try to get the best of both because there's so much like CC on those like Cho'Gath and like the 3 and 4 cost units that I think we'll be seeing more of that to take out stuff like this, which is what you should have to play around that. So I think this is good. I think this is healthy. Wukong got 950 base health, or excuse me, 100 extra base health, which will more than likely you'll 2-star him almost every time. So that's 200 health essentially. I'm actually worried about that because Chrono also got buffed. So, and I already thought he was fine. Like, I already thought he was pretty strong. So it's like all these reasons are why I'm looking at like some kind of Chrono Blade Master build or kind of like I think the meta will be very different. So we'll see. You use him in your Darkstar build, Wukong. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. He's a Vanguard. Pairs up with a Mordekaiser. All right, and here's what I'm excited about: Aurelion Soul getting nerfed here. All right, 20 damage off rank 1, 25 off rank 2. We don't care about rank 3. And frankly, if someone gets a 3-star Aurelion Soul, they can have the game. They deserve it. Target selection per fighter launched is now random, from weighted random favoring nearby. I don't know what this is going to mean without seeing it in game. I think this is a nerf, like a pretty hefty nerf. The reason I say that is because he was like weighted towards attacking close champions. He would very often kill like infiltrate or anything that was jumping on him really quickly and was never in really real threat. So I'm curious if his like fighter rockets are going after other things. If he's a little bit easier to kill, we'll see. Echo got nerfed. I don't know how I feel about this one. My personal opinion is that Echo as a unit is kind of weak. I think Cybernetic is really strong and Infiltrator is really strong, and that's why he does well. I don't think it's the unit that's the problem, but maybe they wanted to approach that from like a different angle and just nerf him. So that's my opinion on it. I'm curious to see. It's not a huge nerf. It's 50 damage per target at 2-star. I don't know if that changes much. We'll see. Gangplank, another one I want. Knock down a peg. Starting mana, total mana. So he. Let me do the math here. His second ult will take longer, which I don't know that this does anything. Am I doing this math right? He needed 100 mana before, and he needed 100 mana after. I'm not sure that changes anything at all. Like, at least this. I haven't looked at the damage yet, but I don't think this does anything. So he starts with 50 and needs either 10. Like, how mana works is you either attack or get attacked and needs 10. Or needs 100. 100, sorry. Starts at 75, needs 100 to get to 175. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I've ever seen a Gangplank cast 2 ults in any of my games. So I don't think this changes anything. So now this, on the other hand, changes a lot. 1 cost spell damage down 200. 2 cost spell damage down 250 per target. I'm very happy about this because it was really stupid seeing a Gangplank with defensive items kill your entire team. So I'm happy that this is getting addressed. I think that's probably enough. I think that's a big enough hit. Because 850 is like most 1-stars, like not that you'd have any at this point, but that's how much like a 1-star unit has. So you're like a 2-star would literally have about double that. So like you're literally doing half of everyone's health. It's pretty nuts before. Let alone if you ever put like a rod on them or anything like that. Lulu, the attack speed got nerfed. I think this is to address people stacking Shojin on her. And just polymorphing the whole team for the entire fight. I think that's what that's really about. She's not like an offensive threat. It's just, this is like I was talking about earlier, this slows down her spell cast. It slows down her ability to generate mana, which just spaces out her ult a little bit more. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. I think that's probably the best thing to do. The perma, you got Nicoverse? Nice, man. Good luck. Let me know how you use it. I'm curious. All right. Misfortune. Attack speed nerf. So this is the same thing. This is going to, like, without adjusting her mana, which they do here, but this brings down her first cast by like maybe a second or two, which gives you a little bit more time to kill her before she like ults the whole team. It makes her less useful as like an AD champion too. If people switch to using her as like Infinity Edge instead of like AP items. So just that's good. This is the same kind of mana thing they did with Gangplank. I have seen 2 Misfortune ults before. But basically this doesn't change anything for the first ult, and it just makes the second one come a little bit slower. Spell damage also brought down quite a bit. But mind you, this is percentage of the target's health. So I still think these numbers are incredibly high. So I don't know what the exact math is, but I still think at a 2-star with like a 1 rod, you're doing close to 100%. All right, Merlin Omicron and Red Buff got nerfed. Not nearly as much as I thought they would. These 2 items are kind of out of control, or were. Especially Red Buff, because it was so easy to work into a lot of builds. Merlin Omicron I didn't see too much, because you'd only really build it on Star Guardian Sorcerer kind of builds, and it's just not really popular right now. And I don't see a ton in here to change that, but we'll see. Other than the 1 Vel cost change. Static Shiv damage, 75 to 80. I don't think this is enough, but maybe with all the chrono changes and the buffs to Xayah, it might be a good item on her now. I think it could be really strong. But in general, this item just doesn't seem to have the punch that it did in set 2. And I think it's because the health pools in general are a lot bigger, it seems like. I don't think this changes much at all. So we'll see. Maybe super early. But I don't think there's not going to be like an Ash build like in set 2 where you would just stack them on somebody with a really fast attack speed. I don't see that happening, but maybe. Warmog's got a buff. I think this was originally nerfed because they were really worried about what people were going to be able to do with the mech. With the Warmogs, because it has so much health. And I also think it's capped behind the scenes this set at like 150 for 5 or whatever, like 150 per second, which is still insanely high. I think this helps some of the tanks, like Wukong and the other like Vanguards. I think this helps them out a little bit. But I don't really see this built a lot now, and I don't expect it to change too much. All right, miscellaneous. Echo Aurelia Lucian, Xin Zhao, and Echo can now trigger on hits from Static Shiv, Rage Blade, and Hurricane during their spells. Okay, that makes sense. I do wonder about like Static Shiv on Aurelia. Just because I like to do the bonus attacks proc Static Shiv twice. Like, not sure. We'll see. Champions now celebrate. I want to see this in game. And Splash Art. Bug fixes. Hand of Justice healing no longer scales with AP. I didn't know about this, but I would have abused it, to be honest. That's crazy. Rebel Shield no longer scales with AP. I didn't know about this, and that's broken. So it looks like that's going to be a big hit to Rebels then. There's multiple nerfs in here. Lucian's Relentless Pursuit now properly counts as an attack for the purposes of Blade Master trait. Okay, that's a buff to Lucian. That's a big buff for Lucian, actually. Fix an issue with Misfortune was sometimes not turned during bullet time if there were no enemies being hit by our cone. Yeah, that's fair. That was annoying. Aurelion Soul now works properly after GA triggers. This was a really annoying bug. I don't play Aurelion Soul a lot, but it was really crappy because he'll basically just freeze if he comes back to life and not ever launch another fighter. That's what was happening there. Clarified tooltips, and some mobile changes. All right, so that's patch 10.7. I'm going to be playing Chrono probably a lot and Blade Masters. And I'm not going to buy a Rebel all game.